In this video, we're going to talk about tags and layers. Tags are the new term for layers in SketchUp. You can find that in your default tray. If you go all the way down here, you see tags. And what this does is help keep your SketchUp models organized, especially when you're getting into plantings. Anytime you're doing a lot of trees that have a lot of polygons, a lot of geometry, your model can start to slow down a little bit. So it's really good idea to make sure everything is tagged once you bring it in. So let me just kind of show you how that works. This particular tree, I believe, is under, if we look at edit entity info. Okay, so it's untagged right now, but we can actually tag this tree under a label called trees 3D. And if we go back down to our tag layer right here, if we click this little vision icon here, we can actually make that tree go away. Now, it's not deleted or anything like that. It's just hidden until we're ready for it to be in our final scene. We just go ahead and click trees 3D, and there it is. If we're importing, here's what we want to do. So we go ahead and hit file. We're going to import a plant here. Let's just do, like a fern. We'll hit import, and here is our fern. And if we, select that tool or that object, the fern, right click, hit entity info, we can see that it's under the tree layer because we didn't switch out of it over here. So we do want to switch that to another layer. So what I usually do, you can do it one of two ways. You can switch this to perennial layer, or maybe even we'll go a little further and say like fern layer, which I typically do. But to make that layer, what you want to do is go down to tags, hit that plus add tag right there, and then just go ahead and type in perennial, and then you've got your tags. So now if you click on this and you right click, hit entity info, remember it's still under that tree layer because we were drawing in that layer. Go right down to perennial, and now you've switched this to perennial. So if we made a copy of this, which we're going to do, make a few copies, all of these are under that perennial layer. So right here you can look at it, perennial, it's all showing up as perennial. If you want to hide that perennial layer, go ahead and hit that vision button, and that just hides everything for you until you're ready to see it again. So again, this is a great way to keep things organized in your model. It's a lot like layers and AutoCAD, but here they just call it tags. But just know what layer you're kind of bringing things into. So here are some of the layers that I had: property line for this particular drawing, house. I'll just leave it under tag right now. And if you want, you can just create your layers right off the bat by adding tags. So maybe we wanted to do, shrubs, hit that tag or hit enter. Maybe I didn't do that right. Let's try this again. So add tag. Oh, here we go. Shrub. So we got a shrub layer now. We're going to add another tag, maybe grasses, hit enter. So now if we import, here's what we can do. So we're still untagged. So before we actually import it, let's go ahead and change it to a layer that we want it on. So like grasses, go to file, import, and I'm going to go to grasses right here, bring in feather reed grass, import it, and we've set it in our spot. We're going to make a copy of it, and if we select it, we know that it was under, if we hit entity info, right click entity info, it's under the name grasses for our tag. If we switch this again, we can go to shrubs. This is the layer that we're currently on, the tag that we're on. We're going to hit file, we're going to hit import, and we're going to go to shrubs and bring in barberry, import, and then just show you how that works. Hit spacebar to get our pointer, our select tool, and everything is under. Oh, did this change? It looks like we didn't change that. So let's try this again. We're going to go to shrubs. We're on that layer. Hit import. Hit our barberry, import it, and hit escape. Grab it. Right click, entity info. So yeah, we're on the shrubs layer. I don't know how that got selected off, but double check that to make sure. And then if we're going to go to our tags over here and look for shrubs, we can turn that off. You cannot hide a current tag, so we need to get off of that tag. So here's untagged. Hit shrubs. Maybe you just click out of there. Try this again. So we're still in shrubs. We're going to go to untagged, click out, shrubs. There we go. Trees 3D, perennials, and I think grasses was the last one. And maybe, was this on anything? So we changed that to untagged, it looked like. So let's right click, entity info, untagged, put that back on the shrubs layer, and everything's gone. So as you can see, it can get a little tricky, but you know, just try to keep an eye on it when you can. A lot of times what I do, I'll actually just, you know, put these plants in. I'll get so far within the model, and then I'll end up creating layers, and then just, okay, these are all trees, these are all, you know, grasses, these are all the ferns. So I go a little further. I end up naming, like, this is front yard fern, here's backyard fern, you know, because when I'm doing these models with these plantings, I like to see like how things are looking. So let's say I had these grasses in the front yard, but I also had these grasses in the backyard, but I also want to see how these ferns are going to look against these grasses. So I may have front yard ferns so I can turn off to keep, you know, make sure my model goes smoothly. But the backyard grasses are still on. And that way I can, you know, set the ferns in place and then just know that how the spacing looks for everything. So that's all there is to it for tags and layers. Definitely recommend doing it. It's something I didn't do a lot when I first started, but it will help with your organization and just making sure that your model will, you know, run smoothly.